tulivena kuyalelo devyo bayetu amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyota kula kwibukisha kana depotimo wimbo watemenwa katongi abazunga batita katongi nakula kwibukisha kateka kaibukubuna kapona neseko syove pamenso yangu ama umebaya kiyaba ume
kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira shika kukonke milimo shove
Sile eti kumemo kulondolo la vale lilo wingi
iseko wingi mwakwete isaso wingi mwakwete mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
katusi muchi motege wali bomba kale kama mwatu katuleli lake amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyota kula kwibukisha kana depotimo wimbo watemenwa katongi abazunga batita katongi nakula kwibukisha kateka kaibukubuna kapona neseko syove pamenso yangu ama umebaya kiyaba ume
kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira shika kukonke milimo shove
sile eti kumemo kulondolo la vale lilo wingi
iseko wingi mwakwete isaso wingi mwakwete mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
katusi muchi motege wali bomba kale kama mwatu katuleli lake
been 1 month and 11 days since we lost Zambia's sixth president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Today, we're privileged to host Citizen First President, Honorable Harry Kalaba. You remember he stood as a presidential candidate in 2021. That was his inaugural participation, but he did very well. He came out third among candidates, I think, who were 16. Today we'll discuss the state of the country, all the issues related to the country, the cost of living crisis, President Hakainde Hichilema's broken promises, his human rights practices that have come under question, from the U.S. country report to the United Nations Human Rights Council report, the Human Rights Watch and others that have cited him for abuse of human rights. And then we'll discuss the state of the economy, the tyranny and dictatorship, the oppressive laws, draconian laws that the president has set up, the corruption that has even escalated. I'm privileged today to host Citizen First President, Honorable Harry Kalaba. As we walk through these issues, he will use the opportunity to share with us the views and, his own aspirations and the plans for Citizen First for our country. And then what is the role of Citizen First with the opposition and then with the upcoming elections in 2021. Honorable Harry Kalaba, welcome to today's program, and thank you for taking time from your busy schedule and your countrywide tour to be with us.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and good evening, our viewers here in Zambia. And I don't know where you are, I'm sure it's in the morning. But it's good to be on this very prestigious program of Emmanuel Mwamba Verified. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. On this program, we speak verified facts. We speak verified truth. We speak truth to power in candid, clear, and unashamed manner. And I'm glad to host you. Honorable Harry Kalaba, the issues around the opposition are worrying to our country. I think our country is seeking a united opposition, and if possible, that you should front a single candidate as a flag bearer. But before we come to that, you and I haven't met on media platforms, and like I stated, we just lost Zambia's sixth president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. For one reason or another, he hasn't been put to rest. Let me solicit for your views over this matter.
Well, Your Excellency, this is a new reality in our country, given the fact that we have a man that ruled the country for the last 7 years, still in South Africa in a fridge. He's not been put to rest yet because of the insistence by our government here that they need to give him the full military honors and all that kind of thing. It's really sad, and I feel for the former First family, given the situation that they are going through. It must be traumatic to have a beloved that you would want to put to rest and not put them to rest. That's extremely painful and traumatic. I would, however, wish to submit my deepest condolences to the former First family once again. I did travel to South Africa when it was announced that the president was going to be put to rest. Unfortunately, an injunction was put in our way, and we couldn't put him to rest. Extremely sad for the former First family, but also for Zambia. Zambians were deprived of an opportunity to pay their last respects to the former head of state, because the powers that be in this country wanted to be part of the ceremony when the family had insisted that they should have stayed away.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And thank you for those remarks. And before I delve into the issues, there was a sad incident where I think I would say you survived an assassination attempt in Solwezi. Just briefly speak to that. I think that matter is very serious. We are alarmed, especially with the state of the country and where human rights practices are under question, where there are abductions, missing persons for the first time in our country. And then we saw that ridiculous accident that occurred on you. Just please give us some insights in what happened in Solwezi.
Well, what happened was that we had gone to Solwezi to do the campaigns for Kimasala ward. And we had a scheduled appointment with the Catholic priests, Father Zulu at St. Stephen's Parish in Kimasala ward. We did go there with a sizable delegation to pay courtesy call. We spent about 45 minutes in that meeting. While we were in there, we had UPND vehicles going around, circling around the parish. Father Zokingly told me, the UP know that you are here in Solwezi, so they are reminding you that competition will be stiff here in Solwezi. And I said, it doesn't matter, it's fine. That's why we are here. We are here for competition. Power is never given, power is taken. So we are going to face them head on. After we finished the courtesy call, Father said bye to us, and now we are supposed to go in our vehicles to cross the road and get in our vehicles where we had left the vehicles. Apparently, there was one vehicle that was parked just next to the parish wall fence that was waiting for us to come out. This vehicle now just came charging at me when I was about to cross the road. It followed me, and I was tongue-tied. I didn't know what to do. Things were happening very fast. I didn't expect it, and so I was somehow taken aback what was really going on. I was lucky that my security detail had to push me off the road, and I went and fell the other side. And my provincial chairman for Copper Belt, Maynard, who was standing just beside me, was hit. The vice chair lady for Kimasala ward was hit. Her child was also hit. And another woman who is supposed to be the treasurer for Kimasala ward again was hit. So these are people that had their limbs fractured, and there was blood all over the shore. So as I picked myself up from the ground, I saw that the vehicle that almost hit me had stopped. And our members had gone to the vehicle and they started beating the gentleman. And I quickly told my security guys to say, stop it, let's get this gentleman and take him to the police. And let's not break anything, and let's not take the law in our own hands. So that is how the gentleman was taken from there to the police. And it was the police actually who told us that the vehicle that wanted to hit me was actually a UPND vehicle belonging to some provincial leaders in Northwestern Province. So in a nutshell, really, that's what happened. And so I was sad when I heard the report from the police spokesperson, who was really trivializing the whole incident as if it was not even an event to be talked about, and that we were trying to exaggerate matters, when in fact not.
Yeah, Ray Hamonga, police spokesperson, put it like it was just an ordinary traffic accident.
Yeah, exactly, and it was, it was surprising for me. And if that's the way our police will be trivializing matters of such great significance, then I don't know where we are going as a country. But I understand, Your Excellency, that our police are working under very difficult circumstances. But even given that fact, we are hoping that the police should remain professional, they should remain resilient, and this is something that, by the way, we intend to fix when we get into power next year, because we want them to be free to operate without let or hindrance.
I think it's not in dispute that the state of the country is in a state of paralysis. The economic meltdown, the rising debt, the cost of living crisis, I think that is touted as the worst, I think, in living memory. The load shedding crisis 2 years on in a row. The people of Zambia have probably recognized that President Hakainde Hichilema has, number one, failed to fulfill his campaign promises, and number two, he probably has failed. What is your view? What do you think is the state of the country? And can we look up to the opposition as a solution?
Definitely. The opposition now is the only solution that the country has. And those who think that the solution lies with the UPND, they better check themselves right and make adjustments. Truth be told, the country is in a state of despair. The country is in an economic doldrum, and we need to get out of that doldrum. We were promised a lot of things in our country that they were going to change. We were promised to have electricity throughout. As you and I are speaking right now, we are using a genset here where I am to provide power. And it's not only myself in here. I'm sure several other households are also facing the same challenge. We were told that a load shedding will be a thing of the past. And this is happening when we are exporting power to countries like Namibia. We are exporting power to South Africa through the SADC Power Pool Agreement. We are exporting power to the DRC Congo. The contract had finished, I think, some 4 months ago. Government went ahead and renewed the contract with the DRC. We are giving the DRC 120 megawatts of power. Now, all this is happening when the country here is in near darkness. And as a result, as a consequence of that, we have seen that business men and women, especially the small and medium enterprises, have suffered the most because barber shops have closed, they can't operate without power. Saloons have closed. Those running butcheries, most of them have closed. Those who are doing welding, they have to wait for ZESCO power to come for them to do their work. So everything has been turned upside and down. And it's even difficult to put the exact quantum of the loss that the country has had to endure as a result of this mismanagement by our colleagues in the UPND. We intend ourselves to ensure that we develop a nuclear plant here. I think, Your Excellency, you'll recall that when I was Foreign Affairs Minister, I had traveled to Russia together with the late Msiska, the former Secretary to the Cabinet. And we did sign an agreement with the Russian Federation to run a plant which was going to produce about 20,000 megawatts of power every day. When our colleague Power, the UPND, they stopped that project and they began relying on hydropower. And we intend to resuscitate that project when we get into office next year, because we believe that for industrialization, which the citizens first believes in, industrialization is anchored on sufficient energy. Without energy, you can't do industrialization. We want to begin doing our own ceramic towers in this country. We want to begin value addition in this country. And we can only do value addition if you have sufficient power. Without that, it's a problem. So we intend to ensure that the project in Chongwe for the nuclear plant gets underway, and that we have sufficient power in our country. In fact, I've said it several times and I'll repeat it here, that when we come into government and we find that the situation of load shedding is the same way as it is now, we are going to stop the exporting of power to Namibia, South Africa, and all these other countries, so that first of all we can service the local demand before we can look to the outward populacy.
Yeah. The opposition, yourself, Honorable Fred Membe, colleagues like Honorable Luwinda and Brian Mundubile, Sean Tembo and the others in the opposition are what are called the opposition in our country. We are aware of the United Kwacha Alliance and the Tonse Alliance. What is your view with alliances? Are you going it alone? Is your door open to still work with alliance members from wherever? How are you approaching 2026?
Well, Your Excellency, that's a very important question. I've been answering that question even in the morning today when I appeared on Radio Christian Voice. And what we told our colleagues there is the same thing that I'll tell you here. That for any one of us to write off working with progressive elements in the opposition and wanting to go it alone is naivety of the highest order. The Citizens First believes that we are open to working with in the opposition. We join hands and make sure that we provide a formidable force. And we are not joining hands with other people in the opposition just for the sake of removing President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPN administration. We are joining hands because we want to challenge the status quo. It's to fundamentally change what is happening in our country, where everything seems to have gone south. We want the country to get back to where it should be, and that our citizens are counting on us at a time such as this, and therefore we remain available to work with progressive elements, progressive political parties, colleagues in the opposition, without selection of who it is. But as long as they have got the similar thrusts like ours to bring meaningful change to our country, meaningful development to Zambia, why not? Why not hold hands?
To lead, you have to be ready to be led. Are you ready to be led in the event that your colleagues picked another?
I mean, Your Excellency, you will recall that when I was part of the Council of Presidents in UKA, I think I had made it very clear that in the event that they picked any one of my colleagues to lead, I had no problem with it. I was going to support it. And for as long as that person was the person that the Zambian populace thought this was the one they were going to support, I had no qualms with it. And you put it very well so. In my entire life, I have submitted myself before others to be led. I was submitting myself before President Sata. I submitted myself before President Edgar Lungu. And if the Zambian people tomorrow say, no, Harry Kalaba in the opposition, we don't think you are what it takes to be the president, and we think it must be somebody else who can bring down the UPND and the Hakainde machinery, I don't have a problem with that, because right now, it's a time of putting the country before self. We have to sit on a lot of egos to achieve what we want to achieve for our country. Any prostituting with the process will be very disastrous for our country, and will continue with Mr. Hakainde Hichilema and his failed UPN, and that will be a disaster. 5 years, I can't even imagine another 5 years of the UPND in government. A lot of things will just melt. And that we shouldn't allow. This is why all of us in the opposition, not only myself, but all of us in the opposition, must be alive to the fact that what is at stake is huge. And we have to hold hands. We have to look at this issue and see how best we can navigate through this rough terrain to ensure that we save the people of Zambia.
When you hear the narrative by President Hakainde Hichilema and his fellow UPND leaders in the UPND, it looks like it's either he is living in an alternative reality, or the people of Zambia and ourselves are living in an alternative reality, because he postures that there was a lot of damage done before 2021, that he has restored peace, that CDF is working across all districts and constituencies, and that he has provided free education. You must have heard him today when he opened an investment forum where he was touting that the economy is on the mend. Look, the exchange rate has suddenly improved, and that we are posting economic growth of up to 6% despite one of the worst drought in 100 years. He postures that the country is on the path and on the mend. What is your clear perspective?
Clearly, I don't know how many times I'll say this, Your Excellency, and at the expense of repeating myself. I think I've said this time without number, that President Hakainde Hichilema is living in utopia. He's living in an enclave. He thinks what he thinks is reality, and that's what the problem is. He has brought in a philosophy of thinking that he is the best thing that has happened to our country, Zambia. The president forgets that in the 4 years he has been in government, he is struggling to point at anything tangible that he has done in terms of economic emancipation for our country. President Sata, may he so rest in peace, basically and strictly speaking, only ruled Zambia for 2 years. I was his foreign minister, and in the last year, he was in and out of hospital. But in those 2 years that he was president, President Sata brought in the Link Zambia 8,000. President Sata brought in the Pave Zambia 2,000. He built the Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. He built the Harry Kalaba International Airport. He built the Simon Mwansaka Poepo International Airport. He did the Wingu Road. He did the Lady Mwanawasa Hospital. So there are so many projects that President Sata did in just years. Of course, some did not just complete in 2 years, but those projects had started. And Zambia was a construction site. That was us in 2 years. Our colleagues have been in government now going into the 5th year. There is nothing tangible they can point at apart from posturing, self-praise, and trying to deceive all of us that we are blind. It's only them who've got eyes to see what they have worked, which works we can see. So for me, I know that the Zambian people are a clever lot. They will deal with those falsities at the right time. I am supremely confident that President Hakainde Hichilema will face the full temerity of his actions next year in August, when the Zambian people will go to the polls to kick him out of power. The UPND obviously have made our lives regress. No one can tell us that the economy is growing at 6.6% and therefore we are doing very well. People won't eat macro statistics. People want to live a micro life. They want to have mealie meal in their homes. They want to have cooking oil. They want to have access to eggs, fresh water, electricity, all these social amenities which are missing in their lives. Today we have got a problem with even medicines in our hospitals. But our president can't see that. And people surrounding him scared of telling him that what you are thinking in your head and what is happening out there are two different things. They can't tell him because they're afraid of either losing their job or the king will be upset. And so because of that, they are restraining themselves from telling him what is really going on. But the people of Zambia, in their poverty, they have got their dignity. They're going to tell him the truth on the 13th of August next year.
Yeah, this brings me to the issues around 2026. Clearly, President Hakainde Hichilema is desperate to ensure that he's re-elected. If you look at his actions, the amendments of the constitution that he wanted to do related, all articles, all the 13 articles related to elections, is tight hold on the Electoral Commission of Zambia, is tight hold on Parliament, the shrinking democratic space, the failure to give you room as the opposition to operate. You've had a few rallies, but clearly the opposition hasn't had it easy. He's determined to use, as we've seen in the last by-elections, vote buying, violence, and make himself appear popular. What are you doing to these, first, the use and abuse of the law, state institutions, and the unleashing of violence in by-elections? If this were to play in the national election, can the ECZ conduct free and fair elections? Are you confident, for example, that if you petition the results, that you have a court that can rule in favor of the people or to the will of the people? Can we have free and fair elections at the rate we're going, where laws have been enacted to silence and shut our people up, where oppressive laws literally, scaring our people. How confident are you that we will overcome all these issues?
First of all, I'll tell you for a fact that we've got a lot of confidence in the Zambian people. In 1991, we had the Electoral Commission of Zambia that transferred power from Dr. Kaunda to President Chiluba. In 2011, we had the Electoral Commission of Zambia that transferred power from President Rupia Banda to President Michael Sata. In 2021, we had the same Electoral Commission of Zambia that transferred power from President Lungu, may so rest in peace, to President Hakainde Hichilema, the current leader. All those that have tried in the past to perpetuate their self-interest at the Electoral Commission of Zambia to the exclusion of the people of Zambia have had challenges, because ultimately the people's interests have prevailed. And this is also true for the current ECZ staff. Whether they like it or not, they will have to do the right thing that the people of Zambia want. If the people of Zambia will decide that it is another leader, it is Harry Kalaba, or indeed any other person that they will vote into power, the people of Zambia will have decided. The few people at the Electoral Commission of Zambia don't have the monopoly of wisdom, and they will not shut down the interests of the many. And I want to tell the Zambian people out there, don't even be discouraged that maybe your vote will not count. I can tell you with certainty, your vote will count, because power lies with you. And therefore, let's just register en masse, because it is through registration as voters that we are going to make our vote count. Eventually, your will prevail. And therefore, for me, Your Excellency, we are trying to talk to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. We know what has been happening in by-elections, where, like in Kimasala and other by-elections that are going on in the country, the ECZ will start doing road constructions where the by-election is coming on. They will start giving social cash transfer, and they will, for sports, they will bring footballs, jerseys to distribute to the youths, and they will claim that this is an ongoing government program. But those tactics have worked in by-elections. They have never worked in general elections. And that is why we in the Citizens First are very confident that the spirit that governs a by-election and one that governs a general election are at variance. And so we'll see what happens in August next year, because definitely the UPND will not have the capacity to be distributing social cash transfer during the time of elections. And the ECZ has been seeing these things happening, and they have decided to play blind. We are writing a letter to them, informing them that these acts that they are playing blind to are detrimental to our democratic process, they are violating the Electoral Code of Conduct, and that they are not instilling confidence in the whole electoral process. It is incumbent upon the Electoral Commission of Zambia to do what is correct, because the many millions of Zambians that have registered to vote are counting on their leadership to ensure that they carry out an election that is credible, transparent, and acceptable by all players, like we have seen in the past.
What will you do differently? People are asking for alternative programs. The people are saying, if the UPND have failed, do you have a master blueprint? Are your plans different from theirs? Will you rely on loans like theirs? Will you allow an economy run, by foreigners and in foreign hands? What is your alternative plans? Just briefly speak to what you think are your major alternative plans.
Look, Your Excellency, for us as citizens first, we are very clear with what we want to achieve for our country. We have said that industrialization is key, and that is why you heard me in the first place. I was talking about the nuclear plant that is in Chongwe, which the citizens first will ensure that it begins to be a priority when we form government. You basically will not do anything without energy. So the nuclear plant in Chongwe will have to run. We need to have 20,000 megawatts of power installed in our country. We can use 5,000. The rest of the megawatts of power, we can begin exporting power to the region. We have seen that there's a power deficit in the region, so it will be easy for us if we can produce that 200 megawatts every day to generate capital for our country through selling of power, which we'll have, as opposed to what we are seeing now. The second thing that the CF will have to look at is obviously the mines. We are losing a lot of money in the mines. There's a lot of financial seepages, and even the tax regime around the mines has not been very clear. We intend as citizens first to bring in a mechanism which will be able to monitor what is being produced and what is being exported. We want to make sure that it is the exact quantum produced that has been declared by the mines and the exact quantum that has been exported. And we are part of this story where we only hear that it is copper being exported, copper. Nobody is talking about cobalt. Today, Your Excellency, you correct me if I'm wrong, I think the figures as I was checking them in the morning, copper was about 9,630 US dollars per man. Cobalt, on the other hand, is fetching for 33,333 US dollars per metric ton. And yet in this country, we only talk about copper and we don't talk about cobalt. We all know that cobalt is more expensive than copper, and yet the mines keep on declaring copper sales, and nobody's talking about cobalt. Those jokes, when we form government, will come to a closure, because we want the Zambian people to. We also want to know the exact minerals coming out of Lumwana, Kansanshi, Kalumbila, so that the government can get the correct revenue. We have also understood the carelessness which has happened around the reduction in terms of the mineral royalty tax, where the mineral tax has been reduced from 6% to 3%, and which has technically resulted in financial losses for our country. When we come into government, we intend to revisit that. We also intend to look at the tax waivers that have been given, mostly to foreigners, multinationals, at the expense of local Zambians who have not received anything. For us, that is a problem, because the people that will be voting me into office are not Italians, they are not Canadians or what. My major thrust is to ensure that we look at the interests of the Zambian populace. We look at ways of ameliorating the challenges that they are going through in their business endeavors. That is our priority. We also want to make sure that the glorious past is recorded. Your Excellency, in this country we produce tobacco, and yet the cigarettes that we are smoking in Zambia are coming from Malawi. In this country, Your Excellency, you know that we produce a lot of soya beans, but the soya chunks that people are eating are coming from Tanzania. In this country we grow cotton, and yet the chitenges our women are wearing every Saturday, Sunday, when they are going for Chilangamulilo, or when they are going for Amatebeto, these things are coming from the DRC Congo. And so for us as citizens first, we believe that if we can begin value addition in Zambia, we can begin value addition even on products like copper. We produce copper, but the bullets are being made in China. That is wrong. We need to revive Mpepeto in Serenji. Once we begin reviving such projects and we begin adding value to such projects, what will happen in the end is that we'll begin creating jobs in our country. We also want to look at issues of Mukula tree. We are exporting logs, exporting them to China, and we are getting very limited revenue from there. we as Citizens First are saying we want to get the technical expertise from our colleagues in China. We would want them to help us do value addition on the Mukula tree. We know that the bats for guns comes from Mukula tree. We know that the wood on the Mercedes-Benz is coming from Mukula tree. We know that there are also several medicinal products that come from Mukula tree. If these can be extracted, value added in Zambia, we'll be creating jobs for our people here. And we are blessed as a country. We are surrounded by 8 countries. 8 countries. So we must be a very serious economic hub. We want to promote a lot of tourism within here, but also if we can promote health tourism in our country by ensuring that the monies that we are getting from Mukula, the monies that we are getting from all this value addition is invested in the health sector, so that we can stop sending our people to South Africa for once. We want people to be coming to Zambia. The Congo market is very ripe. We have 120 million people in the DRC Congo. If Zambia was prepared to receive them in terms of health provision, we will not even be talking about the kwacha suffocating. Because right now, in this country, there is a financial squeeze. There's a liquidity squeeze in our economy. There's basically no money. Why is there no money? Because one of our biggest money earners is the mining sector. When you look at what I was reading today, that 78% of what we're exporting as a country is coming from the mining sector, and yet only 12% of the mining sector is contributing to the GDP. That should be worrying all of us. Why is it like that? It's because most of the money that is coming from the mining sector is ending up in other banks and it's not coming in the Zambian economy. We need to stop that bleeding. Those monies must come to Zambia. We need value addition here. And once we do that, everything will just change. And we'll be strict with what we're talking about. Today I was talking about the issue of the small-scale miners, whom I was saying, when we come into government, these people who we are calling illegal miners, we can turn that from them being illegal miners, we can just issue them with mining licenses. And the CF has said, we will not accept foreigners to be part of small-scale miners. If you are a foreigner, come with large investment, join your friends in doing big mining firms. Don't go into small-scale mining. Small-scale mining will be reserved only for Zambians, because that is the only way we can build capacity. We know what has happened in Ghana. We know how Ghana has used their small-scale miners and how much revenue Ghana is posting. Over $5 billion using the small-scale miners. Zambia too can begin getting that revenue from the small-scale miners if they are properly harnessed and not victimized, the way we are seeing in Mufumbwe.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. The acts of corruption, I think, are a serious source of concern because they bleed the treasury and they allow looting of national and natural resources to take place. There are all these issues arising from the SEC. The president had to dissolve the board because the SEC itself, with other state chambers, were cited as being corrupt. We have currently a report from a forensic audit done by Price Waterhouse that hasn't even been made public regarding the theft of medicine at Ministry of Health and the Zambia Medicine and Medical Agency. What is your view about the issue around corruption, especially that President Hakainde Hichilema promised that he will plug the issue of corruption? When you resigned in, I think, 2019, you also cited concerns around...
Yes, I missed. I didn't hear your question. I did.
Yeah. When you resigned in 2019, you also cited issues of corruption, among other things. President Hakainde Hichilema has came to power on the promise that he will fight corruption. Yet we've seen some of the worst acts, especially on large-scale corruption, get worse. We have this report currently that is being reported by the media that was released by the president to law enforcement agencies, but hasn't been released to Parliament as required by the the Public Audit Act of 2016, every time the National Audit Office or the Auditor General does any report, it's supposed to be released to the public through Parliament, simultaneously with the President. This report has not. Just what is your view about these acts of corruption and what should be done?
I didn't really hear quite well the question that Your Excellency asked, but I think you asked.
Oh, sorry, maybe we have network challenges. Let me repeat, just let me repeat. I'm saying the state of corruption is a matter of serious concern for our country. That's number one. Number two, President Hakainde Hichilema came, promised and, won elections, among other things, that he will sternly fight corruption. He has not, as we've seen from large acts of corruption in major sectors. I think, for example, in public procurement, direct bidding and single sourcing has become the norm. We currently have a single matter where Pricewaterhouse did a special audit on funds donated by the United States and the systematic theft of medicines from Ministry of Health. The law requires that any public audit that is done should be released to the President and simultaneously to Parliament. This particular report has not been released to Parliament. The state of corruption is a matter of concern. What is your general view, and specifically to the issues that I've referred to?
Your Excellency, my apologies. I think the network was skipping. Again, I was just being told that power, what I said, so power had come. So I think there was intermittent disruption. I'll try to answer the question on corruption. The fight against corruption in this country has been lost. The fight against corruption has been political opponents. It has got nothing to do with who is involved in corruption. Because if the fight against corruption was authentic, we would have seen these ministers in trouble with the law. But that has not happened because the fight is selective. They will fire some PSAs. I think from the time that the President came at Minister of Health, he has fired about 5 PSAs. Never the ministers. They are not touched. And that is a source of worry. And that is why the American ambassador to Zambia, Michael Gonzalez, did raise these very serious issues with the President and said that the UPND government was glossing over matters of national significance. And they were not dealing with issues as they should have been dealing with them. The UPND government, what do? They begin releasing the Auditor General's reports in batches. And they're not releasing a document to ask the public to look at it as it should have been. Normally, a report of that nature should have been released simultaneously to the President as well as to Parliament and to the public. But that has not. That is the new that they have just realized the severity of actions of corruption that they have not undertaken. And the result, they will use the issues of saying we are going to fight the Ministry of Health and there will be no sacred cows. But we have seen that the way they have been handling corruption in that ministry has been very selective. When we talk about ZAMSA itself, at what point did the President and people know that the board of directors at ZAMSA, most of them pharmaceutical or that pharmacy that were selling drugs that were coming from ZAMSA? At what point did the President realize that? Dr. Brian Sampa did raise this issue in 2002. He did speak to that issue. He said there were boards of ZAMSA traveled to Egypt to procure medicines. What happened to Dr. Sampa was that he was of the Ministry of Health. They thought he was making up stories. But the same issues Dr. raised some 3 years are the issues that we are still talking about today, and the president is playing ignorance, trying to hoodwink all of us that this is when he's coming to know about the challenges that are with ZAMSA. The matter is, the president has been the president has just not been serious with the fight against corruption. There are people building. For me, my conclusion, Your Excellency, is that either the people that are perpetrating these vices are close to the powers that be, or it's a deliberate ploy by the president to continue abating acts of corruption in this country while we are witnessing finances in this country going to waste and going in individual pockets. The president doesn't care about that, because if he did, he would have been honest with the fight against corruption, not only in ZAMSA, but the whole country as a whole. We see what is happening in the army, in Ministry of Health, in the procurement of ambulances, Ministry of Local Government. People are not supplying things and nothing is happening to them. All that is passing for good governance under the current regime. Nobody is taking action. They're only taking action when the U.S. ambassador raises an alarm. I would have loved to read just part of the letter that the U.S. ambassador wrote to the authorities in Zambia that prompted them to start now jumping up and down to begin bringing out all these reports and covering themselves.
I've been alerted that we are live on various TV stations, on KBN, on Millennium, and I think on Prime. And the TV time allocated probably will be coming to an end in the next 10 minutes. However, Honorable Harry Kalaba, I have a very, very good crowd of callers that call from across the world, and I'd hope that we could open the lines before we let you go. Maybe we should do that so that for those that can call, maybe they should call. There are a lot of people complaining about network in Zambia, but I think the broadcast is okay. As we begin to wind up in the next 10 minutes, the fervent call is for the opposition to unite. I'm scanning the comments here on social media live. Everyone is urging you to unite. Is the opposition, are your colleagues and yourself taking this call from Zambians to be united and probably feature one candidate seriously? Because this question is not going away. I can see people literally pleading to you, the opposition, that you should unite. Is the state of the opposition in such a state that maybe one political party can't win? It has to be an alliance or a conglomerate? You have to reflect back to this issue, because from the comments, it's not going away.
Look, Your Excellency, I think the people are right. And any leader worth his salt must listen carefully to what people are saying. We are getting into government to do what? It's to save the people. So if it is the same people that we intend to save that are insisting on us coming together, we have no choice but to swallow our pride, swallow our egos, and hold hands. And then at the end of the day, the people should tell us, amongst yourselves, the one who can carry the flag or the one who can do better is that one. And some of us will be ready to support that same person, the people that are going to point us to. If they say it is Harry Kalaba, I'll gladly take up that responsibility and allow my colleagues to support me so that we do that which is right. We have played enough games in this country. It is time to act.
Okay, wonderful. Let me just take the first call. I'll take a few calls before we let you, Honorable. And for the callers that are calling, please, we haven't resolved this matter, but please tell us your name and proceed to ask your question or contribution, and be brief because we are live on other TV stations. Good evening. Please tell us your name and your contribution.
President Kalaba. My name is Michael Zephania Piri. I'm calling from Lusaka. Indeed, my contribution is that if we want to win in 2026 elections, the opposition should work together because the UPND, they are on a scheme where they want to block each and every potential person so that they have it easily. And if you have seen from the bill survey, they had projected that they should give more power to ECZ so that they will be able to buy anyone in 2026 general election. So we need to be together. We stand together because immediately we are going to be divided. Zambians are going to cry against Kalaba, KPF, PF, whoever. Zambians are suffering, and all what they want is to stand together. Then the issue of Auditor General Mwamba, I want just to tell you, I'll be able also to put it to put a write-up. Is that when you look at what they have done, the UPND, they are releasing it bit by bit. They want to close ZAMSA so that it looks like because ZAMSA was enacted, it should be in 2002 by the PF, they want to look like ZAMSA is a failed project for PF.
Thank you. Thank you, Zephania. Thank you, Zephania. Let me just take some call. I think your point across on is also right. All phones are buzzing. Sorry, Honorable Harry Kalaba. Just a minute. Let me just remove the Bluetooth. This was on Bluetooth. Got a caller. Caller, just hold on. Let me just disconnect the Bluetooth. Okay. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
My name is Patrick Tilufia, and I'm calling from the UK. Ambassador Mwamba, thank you so much for bringing Mr. Harry Kalaba. Good evening, Mr. Harry Kalaba.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I've been listening to you, and I can see you're a true leader. And Zambia needs more people like you in the opposition.
Thank you, sir.
And then I've got few points, comments, and a few questions, but I'll be moving so quickly on a number of issues. But the first issue I wish to talk about is that Bakalaba, I'm a Zambian who has been involved in so many elections since 1991. And I'm writing a book on leadership, and in that book the biggest chapter is on Zambia, and I've been doing a lot of research. I was in Zambia in September. Ambassador Mwamba would agree with me. We met in Lusaka, and I traveled from Livingstone to Mumfumbwe. Everybody in Zambia is saying it has to be Zambia versus UPND, because people knows that this government, there's no way, because if we are united, because the aim of this government is to divide the opposition. If we are united, we'll be able to protect the vote, we'll be able to raise the funds together, we'll be able to come up with the best leaders, because the biggest problem Zambia has faced since independence is leadership. So if you've got a group alliance, it's easy to put the best leaders out of there. So, Kalaba, Zambians are bleeding. Zambians are crying for you people that you get united. You know, if we don't get united, you know, we cannot allow. Bamwamba knows I supported UPND to dislodge PF with many of my friends. I was a member of the UPND. I resigned from the member of the UPND because I supported UPND based on principles and what was promised.
Well done.
This government is going to take Zambia into tyranny. Had Bill 7 gone through, Zambia would have descended into tyranny. And then my points, Mwamba quickly, and Kalaba. I think one of the biggest problems Zambia is facing is leadership issue. And the next is corruption. Corruption is a symptom of leadership. What are you going to do, Kalaba, as yourself or as the coalition of political parties that will form government next year? How are you going to deal with corruption? Because corruption in the Ministry of Health has been going on for more than 20 years. If you remember 2008, under Mwanawasa, Dr. Ulaya was jailed, who was the permanent secretary of Ministry of Health, Kapoko.
Patrick, quickly wind up. I just take two more calls, then we allow Honorable Harry Kalaba to respond.
I'll quickly. So, Bakalaba, if you get into power and with your fellow guys, you should be able to have a solution already to fight that corruption in the Ministry of Health. And then, quickly, mining. It's a very important. I've heard you saying you come up with a solution, with a mechanism, but you haven't explained. Bakalaba, why can't we go the Botswana route, 50-50? Because whatever we are going to do, they will still steal from us. Wanawasa said, unless we harness, our God-given resources, and Wanawasa anchored the development of our economy, even Kaunda in the First Republic, on the mining sector. Whatever Bakalaba want to do, we can generate money from the mines, as long as we are not even diversification. So the route to go is 50-50. I'm not saying we nationalize. 50-50 or we control the mine.
Thank you very much. Let me just take this other call. Oh my God, Harry Kalaba, you have to forgive me. This one. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello? Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello?
Proceed to make your contribution quickly.
Good evening. Thank you. Is it possible I can remain anonymous?
That's okay.
Anonymous?
That's okay.
Can I remain anonymous, please?
Yes, you can. Please proceed. Proceed.
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, Honorable Kalaba. So my contribution is that I have a question for President Kalaba. You mentioned something about development and what the current leadership is doing. And my question is, considering the term of office is only 5 years, considering that a term of office is only 5 years and Zambia is earning to have massive development, we have seen that most of our buildings like University of Zambia, University Teaching Hospital, many hospitals around the country were built during UNIP days. We see that most projects, you just mentioned to say, Vasada, may he so rest in peace, started the project that were completed by ECL, may he so rest in peace. Don't you think that you leaders are being hard on each other to prove a point that each term a leader must prove to the people of Zambia what they have done? I mean, negotiations start, deals start, everything has to start from somewhere, and somebody who takes over maybe 10 years before a project has matured. Must somebody show something that somebody has worked? Don't you think it's about time that we had a mindset of continuation when it comes to leadership than putting pressure on ourselves to say, Kalaba President, he has to build a university hospital for us to see that he has worked? I think it's about time that Zambia starts looking at continuation. We clap for whoever has lived in office. We must realize that they have not just been doing hula baluba, even if they have not built a hospital or an airport. But at
Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, this is my last call, then we'll release Honorable Harry Kalaba. And for those that wish to call, we'll remain online just to take your calls. But this is the last call. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yes, your brother here, your brother Chanda. Now, Bakalaba.
Chanda from where? From Australia?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been trying to call, and I've got something that Kalaba needs to listen to. This compared to Bemba province. Mwamba, Kalaba.
Yeah, please proceed. He's listening. He's listening.
Yes. In Bemba, you know where we come from. They said that you dole inda naka kumokamo.
Umuntu omuta osalanda.
Yes. So, in situation trying kila mwei, can you please notify at I want to be whatever. We need to work to a common force. I've just got two quick points. I know you need to go. Because if we don't do this now, we are doomed. Doomed. And then my second point. Kalaba is over our young man Emmanuel. I can't say it Muchibemba because it will sound very insulting. They say you don't use violence to treat every problem. You will only realize that you don't need to use violence when a mosquito sits on your testicles in a polite way. Not using Bemba, no, because Kutia won't figure what means it. So this mosquito will cause a lot of pain. But if they want to use violence, they will feel the pain. Can we support one cause?
Thank you very much, Australia. Thank you. Honorable Harry Kalaba, the phones are buzzing but limited of time, and you have prior engagements. You've had a long day with your countrywide tour, and you've been up on radio stations and other engagement. Let me allow you to answer and conclude, and to our dear audience on social media, remain with us. We'll continue to hear from you and discuss Honorable Harry Kalaba's presentation to us. Let me invite Honorable Harry Kalaba to answer and conclude, and at the end of that, I'll come and bid farewell to the various audience that are on TV, and then we can continue on social media for you to discuss his presentation to us today.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you very much the callers that have really managed to call in. I know that many people would want to participate on a forum like this, and thank you for taking such interest. It honestly tells that there's a lot of seriousness people are applying to seeing that our country gets back to where it should be. I think the issue of working together has been overemphasized, and we have taken order citizens first. We have recorded that it is important to understand that there is strength in unity, and that the people of Zambia themselves will help all of us in the opposition to understand that we need to hold hands. We all have to understand that we are at a point when we need to celebrate diversity and see strength in diversity, and come to understand that out of many we are one. And so we just have to begin talking to one another, and we will do that. We will be talking to one another. Just today, for instance, as an example, I'll tell you that I had a very good meeting with my brother Given Luvinda, the chairperson for Tonse. We had a conversation because we need to begin talking to one another, regardless of the alliance you belong to or the political party you belong to. We have to begin comparing notes. That is what you, the people there, are asking us to do. And for us in the Citizens First, that is what we are going to do. We'll be talking to everybody, we'll be reaching out to everybody until we reach a place where we will be saying, now this we have agreed. There was a lady who remained anonymous, and she was talking about we are getting to be very hard on ourselves as leaders in the country, that we have to point at things. You know what, especially leaders that come into government and say they will do one, they will reduce the price of mealie meal from this to that. They are going to reduce the price of fuel from this to that. They are going to bring down the dollar from there to there. They are the ones who have given themselves targets, and holding them accountable to the targets that they themselves imposed on themselves should not be a problem. It is something that they themselves told us they would do. And if they have not done that in 4 years, they should shut up, because they have been talking about doing things and that they know things, they are going to do things better, and they have not done them better, so they need to be held accountable. But I agree on the point of continuity. When I was deputy minister in the office of the vice president, I found what Dr. Lungu, may so rest in peace, was doing, and I continued from there. When I was lands minister, I continued from where Wilbur Simusa, who was the minister then, whatever he did, what was good, I continued with what Wilbur was doing. What I didn't think should continue, it stalled. When I was foreign minister, the same thing happened. We have to understand that in governance there must be continuity. That is why it is sad to see that almost everything that was done in the PF today, because it's not everything that was wrong that PF was doing. There are certain elements that we should have, but they have been done away with. Look at Indeni today. Indeni today has not been resuscitated. We talked about this government procuring the hydrocarbon cracker and ensuring that Indeni put where it should be. It becomes a refinery. Today we are importing petrol, we are importing diesel, refined or finished products coming into Zambia. This is the first time Zambia is doing that. What that means is that Zambia is losing jobs. And byproducts of crude oil, like bitumen and paraffin and all those things, now we are importing them from outside Zambia. I think that is not correct. We need to get back to the drawing board and understand that we need to create jobs in this country. So yes, my sister, continuity is key. The others I've heard, they were talking about us holding hands, and we'll do just that. And of course, the mining sector has to be looked at. We are losing a lot of revenue there. All the sectors in this country will have to be interrogated, and that eventually we need to promote our own people. Zambia is about the only country within the SADC region that is struggling to produce a billionaire. Why? It's because of our policies. I think we feel bad when a Zambian is doing well. We are proud when it's a Chinese who's got the resources, when it's a Lebanese who's got the resources, or any other foreigner who's having the resources. We feel very happy. But when it is a Zambian who has the resources, we become apprehensive and feel that it is wrong for a Zambian to have those resources. That mentality has to change. And it will change when we come into government.
Thank you very much, Citizen First President, Honorable Harry Kalaba. We had Honorable Binwa Mpundu on Monday. Today we have Citizen First. We'll continue to showcase the leadership that we have in the opposition. And I'm glad that all Zambians are urging them to be united. Honorable Harry Kalaba, do you have your last words before we let you go?
Yes, mine is to sincerely thank you and to tell you that you'll be to Zambia soon. The situation in our country is horrible. The persecution is right, left, and center. Many are failing to talk as a result of the cyber laws that they have brought in our country. And for as long as you're in the opposition, you are a target. But one thing we should tell you, sir, is that we'll stand up to those that are in power. We'll talk to those in authority without let or hindrance. We will not fear them. We will talk to them so that they can hear what the people out there want to be addressed. And I think it is our inescapable responsibility to ensure that we do that. So we can rest assured the people of Zambia and those of our colleagues in the diaspora that even as you are urging us in the opposition to hold hands, you bigger players in this, you are the major players in this. It is you, first of all, who have to stand up and say, we reject this kind of governance, and we need a better form of governance, a higher form of governance that will include all of us, regardless of region or creed. That is the Zambia that we have known. That is the Zambia that Dr. Kaunda and his compatriots left for us. And that is the Zambia we intend to build, to take to the next paradigm. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Harry Kalaba. We'll allow you to leave, and for callers, you can call and discuss Honorable Harry Kalaba's presentation. If you have any questions, he'll be listening in. We'll allow him to leave, and then I'll give you an update over the details in South Africa over late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu and the current updates. So when we come after this break, we'll be leaving the TV audience, and join me. You can now call.
Safuna chiba babe uno mwaka Kalaba teka ibafuna safuna chiba babe babetire Kalaba teka ale wina lelo wewe nisie ale teka lelo wewe ulichintelelwe chesu Zambia ichi ni wewe ulichintelelwe chesu Zambia ichi mama Harry Kalaba, ni wewe tule fire. Wasiye fufute niti mwela lelo. Wasiye fufute niti mwela lelo. Mama, wasiye fu. Mama, Kalaba. Ibafuna safuna chiba babe uno mwaka Kalaba teka ibafuna safuna chiba babe babetire Kalaba teka.
President Hakainde Hichilema has succeeded to collapse the Electoral Commission of Zambia. He has succeeded in collapsing the office of the DPP. He has now succeeded collapsing the office of the Auditor General. The judiciary, he has given JCC to members of his Central Committee to intimidate judges.
He described this state of affairs as shocking and alarming, questioning how judges could be dismissed due to the existence of the overlooked Judicial Complaints Commission, JCC.
As a citizen, you no longer expect fair justice because of the existence of the JCC. We have seen the abridged process of procedures through which judges are being dismissed like casual workers, unprecedented. You can't even talk about the police. Nobody's even talking about the police anymore. Because when you talk about the police, you're talking about abductions, you're talking about torture and total brutality. We have two Inspector General. One sits in State House and the other one sits as the ceremonial IG somewhere. The one at State House is the one that carries out the instructions of brutality and torture. President Hakainde Hichilema will go to great length.
You know me, I rarely rise to give a point of order unless in circumstances where it is compelling. And this particular one is very compelling. My point of order, Madam Speaker, is premised on Standing Orders number 243, which speaks to getting permission in order to be absent from the House as regards members of Parliament. Read together with Standing Order number 223, 1, 2, and 3. Failure to attend sittings. Madam Speaker, last week, the former First Lady, Mrs. Esther Lungu, submitted in a South African High Court that the former First Lady's family do not intend to come back to Zambia as they feel unsafe. One of the members of this House, who is also a member of that family, by the name of Mrs. Tasila Lungu Mwansa, Member of Parliament for Chawama constituency, is also out there and a member of this family. Madam Speaker, I would like you to make a ruling on this. Is this House in order to consider Mrs. Tasila Lungu Mwansa as a member of this House when she has no intention of coming back, as expressed in South Africa, depriving the people of Chawama representation, as it were? Madam Speaker, I need your serious ruling. I submit.
The Speaker has reserved ruling for that matter. Today we were hosting Honorable Harry Kalaba, who graced this event today. And we were live on KBN, we were live on Millennium TV, we were live on Prime TV. Despite the challenges of our network, I think it went very well. But unfortunately, our callers, you know, we have a lot of callers. I'm going to spend the next 10, 20 minutes with you. You can ask your question and let's discuss the presentation by Honorable Harry Kalaba. We had Binwa Mpundu on Monday. Today we had Honorable Harry Kalaba. I've spoken out to other leaders that will be featuring. We want to give you an array of alternative that Zambia has. And I think one singular message is coming, that they should all gather together and amongst them work together and see how they can front one opposition candidate. My dear brother Patrick Chilufya from the United Kingdom, you had called earlier, but I think you were restricted by time. Make your contribution and let's hear you.
Yeah, so Mwamba, thank you so much once again. Kalaba made a very, very powerful presentation, but you know, Mwamba, Zambians now, what they need is solutions. In everything, corruption. So the opposition needs to come very clear. You know, what steps are they going to use to fight corruption? Because the corruption, Mwamba, in Ministry of Health hasn't started today. It's a cash cow. And Zambians hate corruption. A lot of presidents have been removed from power because of corruption. And I beg to differ with the lady who called and saying it takes a long time, 5 years is too short for us to decide to remove HH. It's a continuation. No, that's not how it works. If a president is not good for the nation, in the UK, that's why going forward, we need to have an independent and professional civil service. So that when a president moves out, he just moves out. The new president comes in with his new policies, and all this, what the civil service does is to implement those new policies. But everything continues. So in the UK, we had a president who lasted for 54 days. Why? And like HH, he came with a lot of good manifesto points, but she couldn't fulfill those manifestos. The moment she passed she took the first budget to Parliament, the pound collapsed. So, you know, if HH was good in other things, you know, it was just corruption, everything is going on well, is uniting the nation, who would say, okay, let's give him another 5 years, but things are bad. He's not a unifier, you know, he's gagging his own people against what he said. He's allowing, he wants Britain to go through at all costs when he himself was against Bill 10. So Mwamba, corruption. Then the other thing is the powers of the president. This president has got so much powers that he controls the executive, the judiciary. Now he wants to control parliament. What solutions are the opposition going to come with? You know, and one of the solutions is devolution. And Mwamba, you know that devolution is in our constitution. When are we going to have a president who is going to come and say, I'm going to implement devolution as per our constitution? Because one of the ways of shifting that power from Lusaka is through devolution. Yeah, so, and then mining, Mwamba. You know, whatever Kalaba wants to do, because as long as we are borrowing, we'll go back to the same thing. IMF, structural adjustment, Zambians will suffer. We've got the money, Mwamba. Ghana made 5 billion in 5 months using small-scale miners. We've got money in Zambia, gold, emeralds. Why can't we have a president, when they come into power, make gold and emeralds as a reserve mineral? Zimbabwe is now holding gold worth 7 billion in their reserves, you know? And then Mwamba, small-scale industries, which is also part of mining. No nation has developed without SMEs. If you look at the UK and most other countries, developed countries, in the UK alone, 59% of the people are employed by small-scale industries. Mwamba, value added.
Thank you, Bachirufia. Thank you. Let me just take some more calls. I think that at least your thoughts are very complete. Thank you very much.
Yes, Mwamba. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contributions. We can hear you. Please make your contributions. Introduce yourself and make your contributions.
Hello? Good evening. Thank you, Mwamba. It's me again.
Wonderful. Proceed.
It's me again. I called in earlier and I just wanted to respond on Bachilufia. Yes, please. I don't know whether you can hear me.
We can hear you very clearly.
Hello?
We can hear you very clearly. Please proceed.
Okay. I would rather remain anonymous. So I just wanted to make a clarity on Bachilufia. I think he misunderstood me when I was talking to President Kalaba. So what I meant was not, was not that the time from an office term was short for the president to perform. What I was saying is that we can't be a Zambia that is forever wanting to prove a point. Yes, please. So what I was trying to say is that we must be a Zambia that acknowledges every effort a president does in their period. Wanting to prove a point. I mean, look at some of the projects that have been completed. They were started a long time ago. Don't you think the fact that we want Sontopo Wabomba, that is what making some presidents maybe not wanting to embark on a project because they look at their term of office to say, I will not be able to complete these major projects. Indeed, it was correct, like Bakalaba said, to say in the 100 days that they have put up to say they would like to perform A, B, C, D, those ones we can hold them accountable. But when we talk about building roads, building infrastructure, those are big projects that requires time. And it's important as a Zambia, we start thinking collectively. We start acknowledging every effort that has been done by a specific president. That is the only way to go. Bakaunda bali kule fikulwa. Bali for bakaunda bali tushila. We still recognize him. Right? There are very few presidents who have put up infrastructure like Bakaunda did. It's about time that Zambia starts realizing, like other countries, they come, you do a bit, the other person continues. That is what I'm talking about. Another thing that Mwamba I would like to highlight is the sense of togetherness. We have seen people being jailed on tribal remarks. I would like to challenge politicians as they form political parties, as they form alliances. Isn't it important that you start doing an introspection in your executive? Are you carrying every province represented? Because the idea of just you being by yourselves, let's say you take one province or two provinces as the full of executive, we are simply saying yes to people coming to criticize, to say, but if you're back southern province, but if you're back northern province, but if you're back eastern province, it is about time that you start looking at every person you've got in your executive, the people that you are training to be your future leaders, the future ministers. Let us start getting the united front. From the onset, political parties are contributing to dividing Zambia, and therefore it is your responsibility to ensure that every top leadership you have in your party is represented by their province, because we have seen that it's clearly something that the Zambians are looking at. It is very important. So thank you so much, Mwamba, for giving me that another opportunity to speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Callers, like I stated, especially this phone that is connected to the system, somehow I'm yet to resolve the issues. It appears you can't hear me when I answer. But as soon as you are online, just introduce yourself and proceed to make your contributions. We can hear you very, very clearly. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and proceed to make your contributions.
Good evening, Ambassador. Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening. We can hear you. Please proceed and make your contributions.
Well, I want to participate on the program. Okay, so I'm going to contribute. Yes. Yes.
Please proceed. We can hear you. You are connected. Just go ahead and make your contributions.
It's based on the 2026 elections. You know that. Yes, I'm making a contribution. It's not. We really need before we even participate in the 2026 elections. First of all, we must solicit for donor. For donors and these foreign people who are in charge of monitoring elections to start monitoring what is happening right now, because there's yes, yes, the picture of elections in Zambia is very hostile, very bad, because when you look at currently the Electoral Commission of Zambia, they are not doing things that they're supposed to do. We have seen a lot of malpractices by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, compromises just to undermine the opposition, which is very unfair. We have seen a lot of foul praise in all by-elections that we are currently witnessing in this country, and that gives you a picture of what is to come in 2026. So I think going forward, all these people, these politicians, the opposition parties, they should really pressurize government and the people in charge of running elections to do things properly, because if at all, I just read something whereby Electoral Commission of Zambia is banning people from wearing their party regalia like the PF, which is very unfortunate. So I think there are a lot of things that needs to be done before we participate in these elections in 2026. There is need, first of all, to make the playing field to be leveled. Otherwise, we'll start crying, we'll start going to court. So the best time to do everything is now. Let's ask government and the people that are in charge of running elections do the correct things. If they are not doing the correct things, let's involve the people that sponsor these elections so that they can come in and then compel government to do the right thing. That is my contribution.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me take some more calls. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, good evening.
Proceed to make your contribution. Hello. Identify yourself and make your contribution.
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you. Proceed to make your contribution.
Hello?
Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and make your contributions. Proceed to make your contribution. We can hear you.
I think Mlen. Yes, my name is Robert. Yeah, my name is Robert. Calling from. Okay, I just wanted to comment on the lady anonymous. Yeah, so whatever anonymous, but yeah, I think what should I contradict because the way I'll be very honest, HH has completely failed in all areas as a president. Under normal circumstances, his MPs should have actually impeached him, like even just to put a vote of no confidence in him. He's failed in all areas. You cannot have a CEO of a company, you see the company is making a loss, and you just say no because we gave him a 5 years contract. He's even lucky that he's still there in that position because this country, you know, when you look at the way everything is in Zambia, everyone is sad, everyone is not happy. The economy is not doing well. So what's the whole point of giving him another 5 years? Under normal circumstances, it does not even need to be there. That's why about London, where Liz Truss was only PM, Prime Minister, for only a few days because she almost crashed the economy. But this is what is happening with HH. If his MPs were good MPs that have just said vote of no confidence, you should have gone back to the farm. And the only thing that I wanted to say with Harry Kalaba is, if he's listening, is we need one opposition. The next election is not about Harry Kalaba and stuff. If anyone cares for Mother Zambia, we need one opposition. We don't want people that will split votes. Election is about numbers. We don't want even 10 votes going anywhere. We want HH with whatever he wants to do and all the Zambians to be united. This is going to be UPND and Zambia together. So we don't want 10-5 oppositions. So if anyone wants to stand on their own, I don't think they love Zambia. Everyone that loves Zambia and what they want things to be corrected in our country, we need to stand as one Zambia. This is what we are trying, and we keep on talking on social media. And you've done very well that he's come on the platform, and he needs to be aware that the Zambians do not want even 3 opposition parties. That's too much. We want UPND and Zambia together. And that's how we get our country back. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Callers calling on this number that is listed on the platform. Please just make your contribution. Just introduce yourself and make your contributions. There's some feedback that I need to sort out. You are live. As soon as you just hear the click that you are connected and introduce yourself and make your contributions. We'll be stopping at the top of the hour in the next 10 minutes. Good evening. Please tell us your name and make your contributions.
Hello.
Please make your contributions. We can hear you very clearly.
My name is Roy Chamatsulo. Never honorable. Mine is quite different from the views of others. I respect the views of everyone. You know, these politicians. Hello? Yeah, I'm saying never wait. Okay, my name's Ninebo Roy Chamatsulo Mkwai. Roy Chamatsulo. I'm calling from within Lusaka. My take on this one is that I make my contribution. The issue which is there is Kalaba gave us a nice address, and I thank you so much for that address. My point here is I don't agree I don't agree with everybody where they're saying the opposition should unite. Yes, they can unite, but what is important for now is that let's give them an opportunity to express themselves. But let them sell themselves to the Zambian people. Though let's not force people to say, oh, just unite, just unite, just unite. Let each and every person sell themselves to the people. What is their manifesto? What are they trying to say to the people? Then out of market perception, the Zambian people will see out of the 10, take for instance, out of 10 or out of 7, the Zambian people hear their views, like Bakalafine Valandapo, Abakwespina Valandapo, these different candidates. Okay. So let's give each and every one of them to express themselves. Then what you can do is you can come up with a platform where you take pause. You are a civilized person, you're exposed. We come up with pause where you say, okay, fine, the provinces are 10. Copper belt. How many think Kalaba? How many think is this person? How many think is that person? So for now, let's not force this thing of no, the opposition should unite. Yes, they should unite eventually, but for now, let each and every candidate sell themselves to the Zambian people because we are listening. Believe you me, people are listening. They are listening to these conversations and they are doing a commendable job, Honorable Mwamba. Continue with the same spirit. This is our country. Okay. Then I wanted to talk about the economic and financial indicators. Ama economic financial indicators yamuno mcharo cha Zambia. We can list them. Okay. Number 1, it's output, demand, and jobs. Okay. Number 2, you look at the price and the wages. Number 3, okay, you look at the labor market, the labor cost. Okay, then you look at the economist commodity price index. Okay, then you look at the trade. Okay, you look at the exchange rates and the reserve. Okay, then you look at the external debts. Okay, then you look at the equity market, the Osaka Stock Exchange, how it's performing. Then lastly, you talk about money and the interest rates, that's the central bank. So these are the economic and financial indicators. From these economic and financial indicators, these candidates who wants to unite and form an opposition, what are their perspective views? What are they saying? Let them sell themselves to the Zambian people. When you talk about output, demand, and jobs, okay? What are they selling to the Zambian people? How are they going to do it different from the way the others, the way the ruling party is doing it? Otherwise, as for me, Honorable, if this is our country, this is your country, the Zambian people, they are talking, they are listening. And these politicians, they are also giving whatever they are doing. All that I can say is, let's just get united as a country. This is the only land that we have, the only country that we have. But my point here is let's not force Kalaba or any other candidate to say, unite. Let them sell themselves to the Zambian people. Okay, otherwise all the views are respected and we are enjoying the discussions. Keep it up, Honorable. That's the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is very clear. The lady probably has been misunderstood, and maybe I'll respond after the phone calls, just to allow as many people to speak. She has a point, but it requires a detailed discussion, and I'll let you know how. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. She has a point. It requires detailed discussion. You are live. Please proceed to make your contribution. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, I'm calling from within Lusaka. I remain. Okay, I've muted the screen, but I can see you. I believe you can hear me.
You are connected. Just proceed and make the call. Make your contributions.
Let me just disagree with the previous caller, and then I'll agree with the other one. Exactly. I disagree with the previous caller because I really think we are. That's what you are doing here. The other day you brought Bino Mpundu. Today you brought Mr. Kalaba. I think that's already what you are doing here. I don't know what he was trying to do. So trying to say, I think we're Yeah. So, and then I also wanted to find out, really, yeah, the people are talking about uniting and protecting the vote. I really think what are the solutions as in to protect the vote during the elections? I think that's the most critical thing that we need to look at. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me take the last two calls so that I can make my contributions and closing remarks.
Hello.
You are live. Please proceed and make your contributions.
Bakalaba ninshi baona lepo kalaba nabenu kana bamwamba mubebe bakalaba nga mwalalanda ukufula amano next year kulefaiko omuntu umo kufula nani kana tatulefuaya eyo bakyabula pano pamalira ngoma n'abapeshi bakalaba kye tulefuaya okufula amano eyo enjita okufula amano next year ekulefuaya kwa kintobe eyo kye tulefuaya kwikatana tefu omuntu umo abantu bekafula amano eyo ekupapata kwesu tuli panshi bakyabula pamalira ngoma bakalaba n'abapeshi.
Like I say, as soon as you hear the click that you are connected, just proceed to introduce yourself and make your contributions. Michael Zephaniah Piri, you can call. The line is free. Sorry, I've missed a lot of your calls. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and proceed to make your contribution.
Hello, good evening. Yeah, I hope that you are hearing me, Mr. Mwamba. Thank you very much for this wonderful platform. I'm anonymous within Lusaka, Zambia. Dr. Harry Kalaba has spoken very well. I think we all remember what the first former Republican President, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, said concerning of President Hakainde Hichilema. Surely he has really failed terribly for this country, Zambia. And the only big mistake of Mr. President, he focused on the arresting people, you know. So I think my only contribution on this platform is that 2026 we need to make him to become a former Republican president of this country, Zambia. As it is for now, the place is vacant. Otherwise, thank you so much. I support.
Wonderful. Let me take the last phone call. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and proceed to make your contribution.
Hello. Hello, good evening.
We can hear you. Proceed to make your contribution.
Let me just proceed. I don't know if you are listening. Nevo munkonge kwisitranjani ba Mwamba mwabombeni kalina bakalabanga chakwe bati bachiri pa line na bena badishani mkwayi mwabombeni aicha kubalira kofe ya ndetotera fe pamashu yonse ayalanda bakalaba tekinkumemu chale kitekero okweba ati kuti bakwata olulimi lwa musango pali ino nshito kulingana na nshita tufikirepo nomu yuka tonse lero nasango kwebati awo butungurushi wabapali bena letotero y'omutima ewushiriwa kuleka abakonkanyepo lero tulemirombera kofi okwebati inshita tufikirepo mubyabaye katana olio nokupepera posana pakwebati munshiromo mule atamukumenye Yuda Iscariot kozi pali inshitanga twawo kumanya Yuda Iscariot inshifo bena Zambia twachula ikintu cyo tufure twasambira kufe kintu kimo ichakwishibwa kweba cy'ubutungurushi twambana bwena twalipanga mistake twasala umuntu shatara bapo mu butungurushi buri wonse so limoli mora turesale ntungurushi turelolesha sho umuntu ali tungurura pona nguni wati nangu organization ili yonse fe nomba twasabura omuntu ushaikarapo muchupo atesa tutungurure ifo twaraikara muchupo fwe babakale muchupo so ebusanso tulimu ifya onaika fingi techimkume lero bakaraba kumwenu kulya na mumonofyo kuli musaila mutondo bridge na alefo ayo kulira fo bachita abandon ya project pali ino nshitata pali na motoka ingenda from Kasava junction kuyafika from musaila to Kasava ila bridge mutondo basata bashire barungu balibulire kwa ali umwenjani wale panga bridge kulya ifintu fyali pena so I think itekulya kweka ngatwarolesha filimbi Zambia yonse ili mu afya so tuiranda pa ma projects lero turande pa kutungurushi pantu twalipanga mistake twasala intungurushi ishkwete vision pamurando wa wina Zambia even na kumwa wonga twashitufailishe twarasango kwe batakwa befinti file chitika so pali ino ishitabakaraba twamitotera pa mashu yenu yo mwatukoselesha kali tulina imwe wonse ba opposition kale ni panshi nokwato mutima umo before nshitataira chitashani taila paramina ngamwamona bashiri wino wangu mwabafunyamo pakwe bati twami support turefwa mwikatale mubike amano ipamo ngamwabika amano pamo Zambia ikafika pantanshi epo mpelele nshkwete sana kutina rande fingi nomba ninjishiba abaleka biro kutumana abafula so nsha itemwe na pera kona bananji chance lero ndero mbafye unity bakalaba aba opposition bonse o mutima bakwate ero bamwamba epashiri pa kuleka bamwamba mwinenuka kusenyi kukoronganika abantu pamo mukonkanye po kubaleta bebe charo epo bafikire pali ino nshtange ntungurushisheso na totera mkwai.
Thank you very much. That was my last caller, and I can see there are still many calls. Thank you very much for all that are calling. Oh, what do we do? This one says, please, let me. Okay, let's hear you. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Make your contribution. What you have heard is what you should go with. Don't repeat. Just introduce yourself and make your contribution. Kindly make your contribution. You are live.
Hello.
Please make your contribution. You are live.
Hello. Hello.
You are not listening to instructions. I've said you are live. Just make your contribution.
Hello. Chungura pa mkwai.
Mkwai, please proceed and make your contribution. Landene fe mulefo kulanda.
Electoral ndefo kulanda kofe mwandine fe balandiri abantu n'abalanda efintu ifyamano ba opposition bonse bafuile bayikala pamo bantu ichitandika ne 2026 ipako batu bati tufume mu busha bafuile ba opposition bekale pamo bantu ba opposition nga bayikala wanu kwamba okulanda ati yo yemineka nishawo emyewo shala chula eshingi muno mu Zambia. So ifoto tulefwayo echikalamba sana tulefwayo kwe bati bonse ba opposition babe pamo ifile tulufishe banani kane ba president ba Edgar Chagwa Lungu, may he so rest in peace. Ilefwayo kwe bati tubaba kumfwana ba opposition bonse nga twamfwana ba opposition nokutemwana ninshitwala lubula bena Zambia not uli apati yo patu ninkwata pati ande ninkwata pati ande awe yo inata ya monika ta ya wame therefore ikafe bonse fe ba opposition babe pamo baluile pamwe nkondwe ningondo yo tulimo baluile pamwe nkondwe ipakwe bati abantu baluke muno kyalo chisu cha Zambia next year na to telepo na pelela mkwai.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to use the opportunity to explain what the lady was saying, that you have 5 years, and what happens is usually the new government will abandon the projects and programs of the previous government because they have to establish their own legacy. And she was lamenting that most of the big projects, especially capital projects, take time to come to gestation and to come to fruition. It is very clear that there are short-term, medium, and long-term projects. And her question is a very fundamental question. What do you do with democracies? What do you do with short-term limit? That's why you've heard arguments like that the presidential limit should be 7 years, like in Angola or Rwanda or some other places. But there is another school of thought that says, no, politicians tell us that they'll do things by 14 hours, that they'll complete things within 30 days, 90 days, 100 days. So therefore, they should actually be given a shorter limit, like it is in the United States. They expect you to deliver within 100 days. Whatever your major project is, you should begin. It should reach full gestation, even if it's a 50-year program, but there should be movement to achieving it. So you see the cases of Rwanda, Angola, and other places, Germany, they look for a 7-year term. But you have America and Ghana that look for 4-year term. And an average of 5 years term is what has emerged across the world. The point is to do with those national documents. The national documents that, for example, Msokotwane is crafting. Just yesterday, the cabinet was adopting a 3-year midterm framework. Imagine if President Hakainde Hichilema loses election next year, yet his government will have adopted a 3-year, 5-year, 15, 30-year development project that a new government might not aspire to, might not realign itself with. They might decide to bring their own programs. So that issue that the lady brought, I think many people misunderstood her. It's a very, very big topic, and it needs just to come as a single topic of, 1, your governance system, 2, your development path and plans. Are your national documents truly national? Because, for example, the midterm project that was midterm funding that cabinet approved yesterday, did they consult the opposition? If the opposition won, are you not aware that they'll probably disrupt that program that you've adopted for 3 years because of its consultative mechanism was not broad and it was not adopted by the opposition? If you do a 5-year plan now, you do the 9th development plan now, it will likely be rejected by the new government next year. Why? The formulation of these documents are not national in nature, and the opposition do not subscribe to the documents, and they bring a new manifesto and begin to implement. So for me, that is a very strong question that she brought up, and it could have been lost in the translation. What do you continue with? What do you start? Do you finish your previous projects? We have, for example, a proper church that was decided by the previous government, that we need to dedicate our country to God, and we need to build a church that is neutral by the state, because currently the state has to squatter either at the Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross, or they have to go to the Catholic Church, to the Cathedral of the Child Jesus. The state doesn't have a church of its own. You've heard William Ruto in Kenya. He has set aside $20 million to build a church at State House. That would be a national church. If they have a national event, they don't have to go to the Anglican or the cathedral. The state will have a church administered as a church. So again, these are issues. Which projects do you abandon? Which projects do you go? President Hakainde Hichilema is in trouble because he found so many projects, multi-sectoral projects done by the PF. And all he's doing is commissioning, whether it's milling plants, whatever project is, whether it's solar plants, they were already done. The projects were in feasibility studies. I was seeing a project in Northern Province where they want to set up a hydro project in in Mporokoso, and that project is almost 50-year-old. It went to the private sector. ZESCO picked it up. Now it has gone back to the private sector. An old project. What do you do? The trouble with our country is we discuss who has the largest forehead, who has the largest nose, who has the lightest voice, who has the deepest voice. We never discuss substance. And therefore, important things like that are lost in the way. To all you dear colleagues that we're calling, and thank you, the calls are still coming in. I'm so sorry I can't take these calls. We were hosting Honorable Harry Kalaba. I've extended other invitations to Honorable Fred Membe, to Honorable KBF, and to my own leaders in the Patriotic Front like Brian Munduwile, Given Lubin, and I hope that they can come to this program. So I'd like to thank Honorable Harry Kalaba, who came on this program and graced it until I think we might have a program tomorrow. Oh, I'd promised an update. Regarding the late president. There is confusion. People think that on the 18th, on Friday, there'll be a ruling. There's even a sponsored NGO with no legal status that will hold a press conference at the Santon Convention Center tomorrow, and they wish to, I think they want to condemn the family. We understand they are a sponsored group from President Hakainde Hichilema's Brentes Foundation. We are still digging, but they've no footprint. But however, they've been given an opportunity to have a press conference tomorrow, and I think we know what they will say, like the other videos that are running on the YouTube lines. They try to vilify and condemn the family. What is coming up on the 18th is a reply from the Attorney General. It's not a ruling. I have seen people have gone away with these facts. And tomorrow, we are trying to see if we can allow the family spokesperson, Honorable Makebi Zulu, to come to this platform and just speak to us about where we are. Are there any negotiations with the state? Is the family agreeing to what the state is proposing? Is the family concentrating on matters in court? So Honorable Makebi Zulu will come tomorrow and be with us and give us an update of what is happening. What is happening on the 18th is not a ruling. It was a deadline for the Attorney General to respond. Remember, the Attorney General made his claim: I want the body to come to Lusaka. I want the remains to be repatriated. I want the South African government and the family to surrender that body. Then the First Lady responded to his petition, and she said, no, the environment in Zambia is hostile. We can't bring the body. There is no room to give President Edgar Lungu a dignified burial and send-off. So she replied to the Attorney General's demand that the body should be repatriated to Zambia. And now the Attorney General will give his response to the First Lady to reaffirm his position that no. He will probably say, no, the president was not victimized. We took away his benefits because it is a law and he's a former president, so please bring back his remains. That will be the response likely from the Attorney General to the former First Lady's position. And then on 3rd August, I think there should be some administrative position. And then I think we're expecting a final ruling on 18th August, not July. So, but anyway, we are going to be privileged to host the family spokesperson, Honorable Makebi Zulu, to just walk us through where we are, what stage we are, where are the negotiations, because we hear there are a lot of people that are being sent to speak to the family. There are many people that are determined that this matter be resolved and the late president be put to rest in Zambia. What are still the issues? So that is what we'll be dealing with tomorrow. Let's have the family spokesperson update us on the status of the matter in South Africa. That is what I wanted to speak to you about. So until we see you, God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
President Hakainde Hichilema succeeded to collapse the Electoral Commission of Zambia. He has succeeded in collapsing the office of the DPP. He has now succeeded collapsing the office of the Auditor General. The judiciary, he has given JCC to members of his central committee to intimidate judges.
He described this state of affairs as shocking and alarming, questioning how judges could be dismissed due to the existence of the overlooked Judicial Complaints Commission, JCC.
As a citizen, you no longer expect fair justice because of the existence of the JCC. We have seen the abridged process of procedures through which judges are being dismissed like casual workers, unprecedented. You can't even talk about the police. Nobody's even talking about the police anymore. Because you know, when you talk about the police, you're talking about abductions, you're talking about torture and total brutality. You have two Inspector General. One sits in State House and the other one sits as a ceremonial IG somewhere. The one at State House is the one that carries out the instructions of brutality and torture. President Hakainde Hichilema will go to great length to avoid.
You know me, I rarely rise to give a point of order unless in circumstances where it is compelling. And this particular one is very compelling. My point of order, Madam Speaker, is premised on Standing Orders number 243, which speaks to getting permission in order to be absent from the House as regards members of Parliament. Read together with Standing Order number 223, 1, 2, and 3. Failure to attend sittings. Madam Speaker, last week, the former First Lady, Mrs. Esther Lungu, submitted in a South African High Court that the former First Lady's family do not intend to come back to Zambia as they feel unsafe. One of the members of this House, who is also a member of that family, by the name of Mrs. Tasila Lungu Mwansa, Member of Parliament for Chawama constituency, is also out there and a member of this family. Madam Speaker, I would like you to make a ruling on this. Is this House in order to consider Mrs. Tasila Lungu Mwansa as a member of this House when she has no intention of coming back, as expressed in South Africa, depriving the people of Chawama representation, as it were? Madam Speaker, I need your serious ruling. I submit.
Been accused of engaging more in rhetoric than in action, like we are seeing here on the rule of law, and like you've exposed, that the president will commit himself to many lofty principles which he doesn't practice. What is your view or reflections of the president's press conference?
Well, first of all, I remember one particular line where the president was inviting people to offer alternative policies. And you're saying we accept positive criticism. And he was very quick to say, but be careful, if you tell a lie and they arrest you, don't say we're persecuting you. Who says when you tell a lie you should be arrested? And in whose eyes is that a lie? The very fact that somebody says something that you don't believe in does not mean they should be arrested. If somebody has a different view, does not mean they should be arrested. So for me, comrade, that is when the president really exposed himself, because it became apparent that he is the one that sends the police to arrest innocent citizens because they contributed in a manner that he was not pleased with. Because you can't say you accept positive criticism and then you become a judge when somebody criticizes you in what they feel is positive criticism. Then you say that person has told a lie, and then you set police on them. At that moment, comrade, it became very apparent that the president is behind all these arrests. And of course, on the issue of rhetoric, this one point you remember how many times he's repeated it. You arrest somebody at 10 hours, but 12 hours you give them bond. That's rhetoric.
Yeah.
So if anybody wanted to know, or if anybody had any reservations, when the journalists came up and said, what you say is mere rhetoric, this is one such example. What we are going through today is one of the statements that the president has made previously, to say they will give bond on bondable offences within 2 hours. Honorable Kalimi has been here for the past 24 hours. And the information that we have is that they have received instructions from State House that they should hold on to Honorable Kalimi for another day or two. Our lawyers have been there since morning. And all of them are referring to some higher authority. Which higher authority? That's the force headquarters. The IG is there and they're saying nobody has power. You know. Now can you imagine what sort of a country we have now? We have the entire president, issuing instructions on citizens. That one should not come out. Let that one be taken to Kasama. It's very, very unfortunate. I think Zambia needs a leadership that is going to take it into a new frontier. Zambia needs a leadership that is going to rise above and be able to govern using the rule of law indeed. Zambia does not need a leadership that is full of gimmicks and grandstanding and statements just to appear good before an international community. Zambia needs a leadership that is sincere. Sincerity should be at the heart of a leadership that will take this country out of the many challenges that it faces today. What we have, Comrade Mwamba, today are farmers, that were fooled into growing soybeans and later dumped by this government. The president should have spent more time trying to address the issue of soybean farmers, not sitting on a desk issuing instructions to Kawata police to continue holding on to Honorable Kalimi. I think the president should take a lot more time to try and resolve the problems of Mopani and KCM, because the people of the Copper Belt are waiting. The president should take a lot more time to really look at the plight of the Zambian people. It will not help anybody to go after Father Salangeta, who merely offered an opinion and spoke for the voiceless. He was merely a messenger. You can insult or kill the messenger, but the message will still remain. So what he carried was a message from the poor people. The father merely carried a message from the poor people. And I think that President Hakainde Hichilema and his government should begin to reflect upon these sentiments. Those men of God, the clergy, they're just people that save the poor. They have no other interest. They only come in to save the poor. That is the reason for them it does not matter whether it's President Lungu in government, President Hakainde Hichilema in government. They will condemn and criticize.
Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyote kula kuibukisha Kanade pochimo Wimbo wa temenu wa katongi Awazunga wajita katongi na kula kuibukisha kateka Kaibuku muna kapona Nese kosyove pamenso Yangu ama umebaya Iyaba ume Iyaba ume Kateka wa wantu Twakulila, lelo twakulila Shika kukonke milimo shove Ale filamba, fiena minta pengo sile Deti kume mo kulondolo la vale Lilo wingi,
Iseko wingi mwakwete Iseko wingi mwakwete Mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
Katushi muchi wakege Wali bomba kale Lomba mwatuja tuleli lake Ukula bebyo wati dobwiki Ibisebo wapangini obwiki Ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka Mama Utituwa na basiyani Chakwa katuse